Right now, in 2026, it has never been easier to write and publish a book. And it has never been harder to get anyone to care. You can self-publish with the click of a button. Traditionally, still exists, but they're doing less and expecting more. And either way, once your book is out, you're competing with Netflix and Facebook and Rockstar Games, companies spending billions to algorithmically hijack attention, and you're asking someone to ignore all of that and spend a weekend in your imagination. The old ways are dead. There isn't one path anymore, there are 1,000. Some of them work, and a lot of them are traps. So in this episode of Nerdy Nebula Podcast, I brought together a panel of writers, some established, some trying to break in, but all deeply embedded in the modern book world through podcasts, reviews, and interviews with hundreds of authors. I'm joined by MJ Kuhn, Michael Vadney, Herman, Noah Brisk, and Austin. We'll do proper introductions in a minute, but I want to start with something spicy. So first, Noah, what matters more in 2026? Is it mastery of writing craft, or is it just your social media following?
Well, listen, when it comes to me, I'm going to say both. But honestly, what really matters, if you're looking for money, it's going to be your following.
Fair.
I mean, if you write a decent book and you have a fantastic following, you're going to hit the algorithms. It's going to do well for you. If you write a really good book and you don't have a good following, it's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah. I think, right? I see a little nodding heads, but also maybe a little skepticism. I don't know. Herman, you have a different take?
No, I don't. If you could write. Sorry to not be controversial here, but you can write the best book in the world. But if nobody knows you exist, then no one's going to read it. No one's going to buy it.
All right. I feel like this is that's the case, at least with the debut. I feel like if you're going to build a career, the story has to be good, right? But the way you're going to get in the door is the social media following. And we don't have to kind of just assume that this is true. We can there's evidence of this, right? You guys remember Luke Bateman from last year? This book talk dude that was Noah remembers. He was around for a month, and then all of a sudden he got a 2-book deal because the dude blew up to a whole ton of followers in no time. And then everyone was like, "Are you serious? You're giving him a 2-book deal after he's only been on Book Talk for a month?" So, but people will be like, "Oh, Book Talk is ruining publishing." But nay, I say. Back in my day, I feel like I'm dating myself because I had to research this a little bit. But it turns out this was 2011. But you guys remember?
I was my junior in college. It's not like it's a million years ago.
Austin, I think, was in diapers, so it's fine.
Hey, slow down.
But 2011. You guys ever remember the show Jersey Shore?
Of course,
yeah.
And Snooki, that empty shell of a human, got a multi-book deal in 2011, and I was like, well, there it is. That's right. Yep. So clearly the following is incredibly important. Oh, Michael, I don't know. What do you?
Well, I think it does matter. The following certainly helps, and there are plenty of examples of books that did really well, even though they're not that great. I'm going to go to a classic. Twilight is an okay written book, but it's very popular because it did certain things right. There's a minimum bar that you have to reach in quality. Because it is super easy to publish nowadays, especially in indie. But you need a minimum requirement of it's this good, and then you have to do that audience. That's my 2 cents, though.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, you can have the biggest audience ever if you put out a book with a. Can we cuss?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. If you put out a book,
that's good, Jack.
I just wanted to make sure. If you put out a book with a really shitty cover and it's mediocre prose and the story's not that great and you have a huge following, it's gonna be, your launch is gonna be decent.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bring up any examples, but there's very good examples of this throughout social media. You still need to bring forward you got to bring forward a 6.5, 7 out of 10 product with a big following.
I'll bring an example up. I think we can learn a lot from the Hawk Tuah girl back in the day. I mean, you can, if you have a following. Well, she had a crypto thing she was doing that went all over the news because if you have a following, you can make a quick buck off of anything.
Sure.
And crypto's one of the big ones. As soon as you I think it's 1 million followers is when the crypto guys come after you and go, hey, you gotta tell your entire audience to buy this thing.
My DMs are open.
I'm not saying believe that. Rich and I'm Noah. You want to do something here? Or?
Yeah, I'm
Oh
happy
man,
for crypto.
a two to brisk coin coming out. soon?
But
Yeah.
that's certainly the case. You have a following. It's what do you do with that then? So I think the selling part of it, you'll get that. But then no, what you're saying is to have a 6.5, 7 out of 10 product.
Yeah,
where
that's
were you
kind of
going?
my. Ryan Cahill's my friend, so I will talk about him a little bit when we get to it. But I think he's a really good example of having an okay first book, but it caught an algorithm, and that blew it up. I think his books are much, much better now. I think he's grown into a great writer. But that I'll be the first to say, as Ryan's friend, I'm going to see him next week. That first book is nothing special, but I love it because of what it became. So I think he's a great example of someone who put out a mid-tier book, had a good following, caught an algorithm, and then blossomed. Luckily, he blossomed into a great writer, I think. So he's just a good example of that. Like, you got to put out a good product, and you got to have a following. I think there's so many. You can't just have one. There's a very recent example of someone who just had one in that situation, and it just didn't work out for him. And that was tough, and that's a bummer. So it's like, in my mind, I'm like, it's not like I have an insane following, but I have a very engaged following, people I know that are going to buy this thing. So I need to do my best to put out the best book I possibly can for them, but then also realize it's my first book and be able to be okay with pressing publish.
Yeah. Like if you can have a massive following and you can have a horrible product and get away with it one time, but those people aren't coming back.
Yeah,
right?
like the Barnum and Bailey model, right? Where the circus leaves town. Well, that's what I was going to say. I think that, we're talking a lot about followings, but I think really, if we boil it down, to strike gold, which I haven't yet, for the record. I have a couple books out, but I got a day job, baby. But to strike gold, you need two things. You need a decent book. I'm going to say decent. Hopefully it's great, but at the very least, it needs to be. You need to have a book with either a message, a character, a world, a something that strikes a chord with a specific audience. And then the second piece of that puzzle is that audience has to know it exists. So I think having the following really helps you get to, and especially with what you were saying, Noah, with your following being very engaged. Now imagine you have a following. Okay, let's say Snooki puts out a hard sci-fi book.
Might not be a good product market fit. Right?
Do we really think that her giant following of Jersey Shore fans? Sure, there's going to be some crossover. I don't think that Venn diagram's a circle.
Right.
It's why I've always been so adamantly against. As someone who always planned to write a book and release it, I've always been so adamantly against viral reels, like trying to catch a trend. It doesn't bring in readers for you. You may get a couple. You may make a decent amount of money off of it by having 100,000 followers, but if they're following you not for what you're producing and what you're trying to put out, that's not customers for you. It's just a number. That's good for brand deals, right? That's good for free stuff. It's not good if you're trying to sell something that you are producing. Yeah,
as a person that works in marketing, we call that a vanity metric, right? Like the number of followers, right? If there's no substance behind it, it doesn't really matter.
If I have a hard and fast rule, if I have literally any video, if it's not a review, if it's not a straight recommendation video, if it's any kind of quick thing, a complaint, if anything gets over 500,000, I archive it. I've done that with about 5 videos. Because once you start that's when you start getting those vanity followers is over 500,000 on Instagram. So that's where I cut it. I have one getting close right now that might be getting archived soon.
Boy.
We'll see.
What a champagne problem. I'd like to, right?
My reels are too popular.
Oh, man.
It doesn't happen that often. In 2 years, 5 times is not that much.
Yeah.
But
okay. So I think we've established that following matters. Let's start doing a little bit of introductions. Noah, you've talked a little bit. So if the audience isn't familiar with you, Noah, talk a little bit about what you've been doing for the 2 years and where people can follow you, and also where you're at in your writing journey.
Yeah, so I'm Noah Brisk, and I started a Bookstagram when we had our third kid because I was on paternity leave for 8 months, and I was bored, and I read everything that I had. So I was like, I need to find some books. And then people were recommending stuff. I'm like, I've read all these. What are you guys doing? Do you have anything new? Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it on my own. And so I started my own. I did some research. I found Michael R. Miller, Philip Quaintrell, and it kind of just went from there. So I've basically built my platform off of. Obviously, I still read the popular stuff, right? Like literally, Malazan and Jade City are behind me. I read this stuff, but I try to make myself someone you go to find something to read that maybe you missed or you just don't know about. I'll hit on the big releases. I'll show you stuff hopefully you don't know, or stuff that I read in 2010, I'm like, go read Lightbringer, not Pierce Brown Lightbringer. Go read Brent Weeks Lightbringer. I want to talk about that one. So that is who I am. I've posted a reel every day for 2 years. And that's how I built my following.
Every day. Kudos.
Every day. Although I have
that's
started
like-
doing carousels more when I've been writing, because I've just been so out of time at editing. It sucks.
A little inside baseball, but it seems like the carousels these days are kind of performing a little bit better than reels. Is that experience you're getting or no?
Yeah, they've always done well for me.
Yeah.
I just don't like them because they do sometimes blow up.
Oh, and then you have to arc. Oh my god.
Yeah. So I only do those when I feel like they're necessary. Like if I do them, there's never going to be a repeat book. There's never going to be, there may be popular books on there, but it will have to be because it's a specific theme or something. So if I do them, I make sure I'm trying to be very creative with them. So mine don't do as well as some people's, but no, they always get a ton of views. Carousels. I mean, So, and I've just been trying to do that a couple times a week as I've been doing I'm almost done with my self edits. So soon I'll be making videos again every single day.
So one more quick specific for you question, Noah. Are you specifically are you definitely planning going indie the way I know Michael is? Or are you on the fence of indie versus trad, or are you more I want to go trad, or where are you at with that?
So it's probably going to be hybrid, and I can't say any more than that right now.
Fair enough. All right, that's interesting.
Okay. That was my hope from the start. I wanted my print and my ebook, and I wanted to not do my audiobook. I just don't want to deal with it. So nothing's official yet. That's why I can't talk about it yet. It's probably going to be a hybrid scenario. Which was my ideal. So if it works out, it works out.
Perfect. One of the questions that I want to spend some time on in this discussion is breaking in as indie versus breaking in as trad, and what are the pros and cons of both, and that sort of thing. So we'll get to that. But my trad expert is you, MJ. So can you go ahead?
I don't know if anyone's a trad expert. God, that industry.
Fair. Maybe I was gonna say Brandon Sanderson's agent, but maybe Brandon Sanderson himself. But
yeah, I was gonna say.
I feel like he actually has a pretty good pulse on the industry as a whole.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, could you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background, MJ, your the books that you have out? You can go ahead and hold them up if you got them. But
yeah, that's why right before we started recording, I turned up my camera for a second because I always forget to go grab. Oh my gosh, look at this! It's a book.
Look at that.
Hi, I'm MJ Kuhn. I am author of. I got a couple books out. I have Among Thieves, and then the sequel Thick as Thieves out from Saga Press, Simon & Schuster, right now. In the U.S., I guess Galance over in the U.K. I'm also co-host of both the SFF Addicts podcast and the Fan Fight Addict Book Club show that actually just launched this year. So SFF Addicts, I co-host with Adrian M. Gibson and Greta Kelly. Hey! And then the Fan Fight Addicts Book Club, I co-host with the lovely Fraser Armitage. My path so far has been trad. I published my first Among Thieves, came out in 2021 in the trad market, and but I can say, not while we're recording this, but once this goes live next month, I can say that I am releasing my first indie book this year. I'm really, really excited. So after being really embedded in this community for so long through the podcast and meeting so many people and meeting so many incredible indie authors and seeing the cool, fun things that they can do that you just you don't have the control over in trad. I have become a passionate advocate for hybrid publishing. I do still have my agent. I do still have multiple projects on sub in the trad market, but I am hand-picking the books that I write that I think will do better in the indie market, and I'm taking those out on my own. So first one comes out this July. I'm very excited.
Oh, man. Oh, that's a little sooner than I thought. That's exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Before we kind of continue around, I'm going to stick with MJ for a minute because, again, you're my trad expert. So MJ, again, I'm gonna ask this in a spicy way, but does traditional publishing really bring anything to the table anymore?
Distribution. Traditional publishing, just they have the distribution arm in terms of bookstores, physical copies. I will say, so I have like a lot of thoughts. So I'll try to keep it brief because I know this is not the MJ show. But for indie versus trad, when you're deciding, right, like which path you want to try for a project, or when I am at least now, there's a couple factors that go into it. Part of it is, whether I think this book could find legs in an indie market or could find an audience. Do I think that I can think of other indie books maybe in this space? Or the other piece is just deciding which matters more to me, control or reach, right? So if I want to have more control over the project, if I want to have more say over the cover art, if I want to have more say over the formatting, over the actual content of the book, right? Like if I want control over the timeline, if I want control over any of those things, indie might be a good path to go. If I don't have a massive following on social media and I want my book to be in, you could go, I guess probably not anymore because it's been a couple years, but in 2021, when the book came out, you could go to pretty much any Barnes & Noble in at least the United States and probably find a copy of my book on the shelf. That's not something I'm going to be able to accomplish with my indie career. Sure. So I am a firm believer that having a hybrid approach is like the best case scenario. You have some books that are traditionally published and you get a big reach that way. You get access to new audiences who can find your book on the shelf in a bookstore, and then you self-publish other ones, and those ones you invest the time and the money up front yourself, but you get way bigger margins off of every sale, and you leverage that audience that you won from the trad market and you bring them over to the indie side of your career. I am a firm believer at this point in time, and this is only a half-tested hypothesis because this is my first indie book I'm putting out this year. But I don't want a day job anymore. I'm so tired of working like 80 hours a week between all my jobs. Like, I'm so tired, you guys. I just want to write full time, and I really think that hybrid is the path that is most likely to get me there. So I'm testing it out.
Yeah. One thing you, I think, said in passing at some point that I like, maybe even over, maybe it was at Worldcon, I don't know, somewhere, MJ, but you said like, essentially, what could be perceived as a big hit in the indie space would actually be perceived as a flop in the trad space, right? So if you sell like a few thousand copies in the indie space, or if you're running a Kickstarter and you sell like, hundreds of copies even, that could be pretty good and feel pretty great. But if that was your entire sale for a trad, they're not going to want to publish you again, right?
Well, and it depends on a lot of different factors. The size of your advance for starters, right? Like if you have a tiny little advance, then you have a little more grace than if you got a 6-figure advance and then you only sell a couple thousand copies, which, let's just consider the ridiculousness of that for a second. Only sell a couple thousand. Like, that's bonkers. Like, Among Thieves, at this point in time, I have stopped tracking my sales religiously just because, I don't know, it's been a long time. But last time I checked, this has sold like over 15,000 copies worldwide. Like, that's a shitload of books. But in terms of like me actually making a living off of this book, no.
Right.
No, not that you could necessarily make a living off of 15,000 copies of one book in the indie market, but you can publish a lot faster in the indie market. You get a lot bigger margins off of every copy that you do sell. So if you can hit those kinds of numbers in your indie career, it's much, I'm not going to say easier, but it's much more feasible to create a full-time income with that path, because you have, again, it's the control piece. At this point in time, I have not released a book in the trad market in 4 years almost. That's not my choice. Right?
I've got the books.
I've got them. It's just everything moves so slow in the trad market, right?
Yeah.
You can be a lot more nimble in indie.
Yeah.
So it's a trade-off. Everything's a trade-off. I know I'm coming across as very diplomatic, but I'm being really, like, genuinely, I believe it's all a trade-off.
I'm with you. I mean, to me, the optimal path is start indie, make enough waves until trad knows that you're a sure bet, and make your own deal. Like, it's the Matt Dinneman approach, right? Like, he sold enough books that he could he could get an agent and get a print-only deal and get a Netflix TV show option and whatnot. The dude he's a rock star right now, you know? If you can make that happen, go ahead and make that happen.
I know, I was going to say, I saw your shirt, Noah. Like,
nice.
I just saw him a couple weeks ago, so I had to show up with a new sweatshirt on because it embarrasses him.
Love
so
it.
I want to go Herman, Michael, and then Austin. But Herman, I mean, can you kind of? You're, I think, primarily. I know you're definitely mostly indie. I don't think you have any trad published, right?
I don't have any trad pub. No, I am
Right.
exclusively indie. I have 13. Well, next week I'll have 13 books out. And well, next week as we're recording, when this is out, I will have 13 books out.
So go buy all 13.
So, sorry?
I said, so go buy all 13, all listeners.
Go buy all 13, yes. So I'm probably best known for my first cozy fantasy book, The Bartender Between Worlds, which was also
a very
the
fun
first
read.
Kickstarter campaign that I ran that Nick mentioned earlier. So I've been self-published since the end of 2020. My first book came out, Lies the Guardians Tell, which is a YA sci-fi dystopia that nobody bought other than everybody I know in real life. But when I first published, my goal was just to write and publish a book. I really had no sense of the market, what was all involved. Self-publishing was really a new thing to me, so it was kind of just a life goal to write that book, and I did. And then as I kind of continued, I learned more and more about the industry, and then I just wrote something for fun, and that's the one that happened to hit. So I've got 3 cozy fantasy books now out in the same kind of multiverse as that one, and yeah, I'm also very tired because I also work full time and I'm trying to do books. So self-publishing, just because you sell a ton. I mean, I've sold a few thousand, but it's not a full-time gig yet either. So yeah, it's lots of fun anyway, though.
But again, kind of going back to that point, though, of like what could be kind of good as an indie versus not so great as a trad. You've run these Kickstarters. You've sold with each of them like a few hundred, but they were not bad to you,
Not
right?
bad. No, like I've definitely earned out what I've put into my cozy fantasy books, and I know for trad pop that's incredibly difficult when you've sold. I think Bartender Between Worlds, I stopped counting as well, but it's between 4,000 and 5,000 copies plus the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter kind of earned out on its own. Never mind the sales after that. So there's definitely benefit, right? The Kickstarter, my Kickstarter for that, and considering that I was new to the genre and did not have a huge following going into it, the total for that first Kickstarter was about $22,000, which, and I think it was about 300 backers for it. So like the scope from 15,000 trad published books to a few hundred, indie books, depending on the platform you use, can really be a huge difference, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Love it. All right. Definitely going to want to hear more about your experiences, Herman, but I want to get Michael in here. Michael, tell us a little bit about first, like, your writing and then your podcasting, and then I know you have some questions.
Yeah. Hello, folks. I'm Michael Badney. I am the host of the Author Adjacent podcast, and as of April 28th, I'll be the author of Crownfall, my debut novel. Very excited for it.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted to get into writing. I wanted to write a book, and I was a longtime fan of all these authors that I really liked, so I started doing a bunch of research. And what lesson kept bubbling to the top was that you need to start building an audience now. It doesn't matter that you don't have a book. Start building a platform, start building an audience. And that was from things like Brandon Sanderson's lectures and like Daniel Green's podcast when he started self-publishing. And so eventually I was like, you know what? I'll start a podcast. It's a very low bar of entry to do an audio-only podcast. You barely need any equipment to do it. And it's something to get your name out there, start interacting with the community. So I started doing Author Adjacent and started writing a book. And now, God, I think I'm 3 years later, I'm here.
Yeah. Nice. And, yeah, I think you had a question in your back pocket for Herman or MJ.
Yes, this can go to anybody really, but what I wanted to ask is like from your guys' own podcasting and social media journeys and all these like author interviews that you guys have done and chatted with all these people, like what are the biggest myths for aspiring writers that they believe about breaking in, and what's the grounded reality based on that actually works in 2025, 2026?
Oh man. Well, I'll just like jump in with a quick thing. It's just funny, because on SFF Addicts we've talked to a lot of authors, both debuts and then we've had some giants on that have been in the industry a long time.
George R. R. Martin.
Yeah.
Right.
and whatever.
Right.
And when you ask the people that have been in the industry for a really long time their answer to this question, it's just so. You nod because in their era this was the way you break in, this was the way that it worked, and it's changed so much in the last definitely 10 years, but like in the last 30.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So radically different.
When you're done, MJ, I have something.
Oh my God, go for it.
Okay, so this is gonna sound weird, but
I'm here for weird.
I go to Robin Hobbs' house every Wednesday.
Nice.
I love this. Are her gardens as lovely as she's described them?
She's fantastic. Okay. This is the first time publicly I'm saying this. So there you go, Nick.
Scoop.
Don't write this in the description, just for people who listen. Okay. So I'm in her writing group. She writes,
Nice.
I write with her. So she's been along with me this whole time I've been writing this book that I have coming out in fall, hopefully. And just to give you an idea of how much it's changed, I'm helping Robin build a podcast and social media studio. Robin Hobb,
Wow.
who is one of the top 3 most successful fantasy authors ever, right? And it's just so interesting to me. She's like, Noah, I need you to help me build a podcast studio. I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, my agent and publisher want me to start doing some social media stuff. I'm like, okay. I'm like, so first off, we're calling this the Robin Hobbcast, just so you know. But that's just such a good anecdote for like, again, that wasn't me bragging that I write with Robin Hobb. That was me like, this is credibility.
Right. Right.
So the fact that her so established, 16 books, and she's writing a new trilogy in the realm of the Elderlings, and she needs to do a social media thing. Her publisher wants her to. So it's just crazy to think
That's
that
like
someone
disheartening,
like that,
honestly. If I think
it is. It is.
Well, so are they saying like
publisher's
she?
like, Robin Hobb, actually, can you like show
was
your
more of a-
shit on social media?
Yeah.
It was more of a look. They're not making her do anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
but they are saying it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Robin's very with it, as I'm sure you know, MJ, right?
Oh,
she's,
yeah.
she's with it. She's very with it, and it's just so crazy to think that someone like that, I mean, look at Brandon. He does a ton of social media stuff.
Oh yeah.
Huge.
And so Robin's going to start doing that. I don't know what that looks like. Hopefully, I'm the one who does it all for her and with her. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. But it's just crazy to think like with how much it's changed and how to break in. Like if Robin Hobb's doing that stuff, and you think you as an indie author don't have to do stuff like that, you're
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
You're
Oh no!
insane.
If you're
So-
indie, it's absolutely required.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's no other engine to push out that publicity of your book other than you. You have to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna
And
end up
I want to
getting scammed. No, you're fine. Go.
Yeah, no, I'll add to that too, like, because you did ask, what does it what do you think it takes to kind of break it in 2026? And I think especially when we're in an era where someone has an article in the New York Times and claims to write 200 books a year and thinks that's a viable model, you need an avenue for somebody to know the author behind the book, right? Like, that's kind of where I see the future of indie publishing going, is because the reader's going to want to know that there's a human behind the book, whether that you write a book a year or 10. I think either is reasonable for a human to do, depending on how much time you actually have in your life. But you're going to have some medium to show your face and or who you are as a person. I think we're only going to see that becoming more and more important.
I have so many thoughts on that, and in there's like so many different things to unpack in what you just said, Herman, too, because like there's the AI conversation, which I want to touch a little bit, but then there's also kind of the branding as an author, which I think is an interesting thing too, and I want to touch on that. Yeah. But just to go back to a second for podcasting, good news, Austin, you're ahead of the game there,
Hey, right. Yeah,
you already got your podcast and stuff. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Austin. Tell us like what you're writing and where you're at in that process too.
And I want you to say "suck it, Robin Hobb" before you go into your.
So suck it, Robin Hobb. Absolutely suck it. I actually write with Sanderson on the weekends, George every Friday. It's actually pretty great.
Yeah. And Mondays you get editing tips from George R. Martin. That's why he hasn't finished. Right.
Yeah, take that, MJ. You got you only met him once. All right.
You're like, put it in my phone, okay?
I guarantee you don't see him on a Sunday.
No, that's true. But hello, my name's Austin. I'm one half of Tutor Ramble. My partner here, Rich, is kind of working on a project. He hasn't started the writing process yet. He wants to. He's kind of in that world building phase a little bit. But yeah, we have a podcast, Tutor Ramble, we've been doing since March of 2022. And we started it mainly with the passion of just talking about all things stories. So at first we were doing movies and shows and books, but it just became mainly books. And now it's just all books and mainly fantasy and sci-fi. We do reviews and topics and anything of the sort. And we're lucky that we have another person in our life that we found. A lot of people don't have that person they could just talk the same exact passion with, and people go online to find that. And we kind of saw a platform where we could, instead of having our several-hour-long discussions about something late at night, about whatever said book, why don't we just make that into a podcast, start a community, all sorts of stuff. And that was the second part of your question about the writing process?
Yeah, like where you're at. And then also if you have any question, a specific question in mind for MJ and Herman, since they're kind of the more established experts in our little panel here.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I'm on my first work in progress. It's about 40% complete or so. It's been at that for a while, or it's been a slow grind, I should say. A lot of that, maybe actually a little double-edged sword with podcasting and getting a bigger following before publishing gives a little bit of gives
pressure.
A different writing experience when you're publishing your first book. Because obviously, I'll be honored and very grateful, privileged to have as soon as I publish, whether it's trad or indie, I don't know, it will have readers because I could do the crypto thing. I'll scam 5 people at least. Like I'll sell it, right? So a little bit of that double-edged sword is I guess that would be my question for Herman and MJ. Just if you knew having a following going in before publishing something. I mean, I guess this is the Noah situation of like, oh my goodness, I'm accepted to Yale and Harvard. What do I do? Like with the 500,000 thing. But what? Any advice for a debut, knowing that you are going to have readers? And maybe that's a selfish question because I'm sure a lot of the people watching, it might be a bit different. But I'm just curious for that use case. What would you guys say should be the mentality or any strategy going forward when writing that?
I mean, well, okay. I'll kind of hop in because I think it's a very valid question, and it's something that especially people that write series. I got super lucky.
That's a good point. Yeah.
In my my duology because Among Thieves was supposed to come out in 2020, And then I don't know, just some virus happened, and then
Some
all the
little thing.
publishing schedules got pushed back, and it ended up coming out in 2021. So by the time Among Thieves came out, I had already written, edited, passed off to my team, thick as thieves. So when as we do, when our first book comes out, read all the reviews and saw people talking shit about my book, baby.
Yeah.
Which it happens. Everybody gets 1 stars. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But when I saw those, I had already written. Like, it's not like I then had to come in and try to write book 2.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the same mindset though, right? Where it's like, you're writing and people are gonna see it, and there's gonna the more people that see or read anything, you're not gonna see a product on Amazon, anything that has 10,000 reviews and a perfect 5-star. If I did, I'd be suspicious, right?
Yeah.
Like, once you reach a certain volume of people that see anything, somebody's not gonna like it.
Yeah. Right.
So it's scary, and that makes it a little more intimidating. I would just say, you're not. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, because I don't want to say like you're not writing for your audience, because obviously you hope your audience enjoys it. For me, the only way to enjoy the writing process and actually finish my books is to know that I'm writing for an audience of one, and that audience is me, the version of me that needs this book. And I'm writing that with faith that I am not a wholly unique human being that cannot be understood by others. And if I'm writing it for an audience of one that is me, the me that needs to read this book, there's going to be other people that are the me that needs to read this book. So that would be my advice, is to just try to just really focus on the task at hand, try not to think about the audience as much as humanly possible. And this is my sneaky tip. Once your book is out, or advanced reader copies are out, pick a friend. They will be your review guardian. I have been the review guardian for several people. And what they will do is every single day, they will check your Goodreads or your NetGalley or wherever it is, and they will send you the 5 stars. So you get to read the happy things that make you go, oh, people love my shit. But you don't see any of the people that didn't like it. So pick your review guardian when it's out.
I mean, having the channel we do, it's actually a good primer, because I feel we get a lot of negative comments, mostly good comments, but you're getting used to that feedback, especially because you have to be able to take criticism. I'm acting as a quote unquote critic, or at least a reviewer, and looking at other people's books, and you have to be able to take it as well. So that's something I'm hoping is building as well in the background with having something like this.
It totally is. My skin is bulletproof at this point. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that, but man, I was a girl talking. My TikTok channel is about video games. You think you can hurt me? You can't break me. But the other thing I will say, if you do happen to see a bad review or whatever, just get down in the dumps. My other tip is to go. I know, sorry, my cats are always here. Is to go read 1-star reviews of the book that blew your mind. Right?
Yeah, that's
not
very fair.
not as a Schadenfreude thing, but just as a reminder that somebody hates everything.
I think you've done that as a video, right?
Yeah.
Right? If not, that's a good video concept. I've seen that before. But
I did a video with Bookborn where I had read 1-star reviews of my books.
oh man,
Nice.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I guess the hope is, and this is maybe good for anybody watching that doesn't have a platform, and this is one benefit of having no platform, is if your book gets big, it's good art, and then what follows is the following. A little bit of the insecurity can be, hey, is this good art, or is this because people get along with me and are curious or invested enough? I mean, I'll say, Noah brought up the example of Ryan Cahill, who's grown as an author and become better and better. We had him come to our Discord and reviewed his book. I gave a scathing review. I was like, Ryan, I love you so much. I love you. I hate your book, but I love you. You're great. And he's obviously uber successful and is a great author. Doesn't matter what I think. He's successful and clearly has hit this massive fan base. He touched on something that people love. So that could be plenty of cases. I guess with the case of people who, a lot of people watching might have a published book or debut book already writing, and then in post are going, wait, now do I make a social media following? Now do I make the podcast? Or do you do the Robin Hobb? Well, Robin Hobb's not a good example because she's already
well, but still, I think the Robin Hobb proves that there's no too late.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
That's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
So I guess for a question, I could just throw it out there to anybody, Nicholas included too. So if for the people that are have the book, have something written, and then are going, wait, well now I need to market it. Any advice for them? Because they're going in directly. I'm sure some of you maybe had that experience of, was that the order anybody did it here? Or did you have book? Like, yeah, there you go. So, yes, can be.
My advice to someone like that, who is also me,
Yeah.
look at what those that have written a similar book are doing, and
Okay.
that are doing well, that are successfully marketing their book, and emulate them, because I don't think there's any shame in. I mean, don't copy them, but I mean, because they're obviously hitting a chord with the readers of that book. So if you wrote the next Dungeon Carl, see what he's doing. Now don't do that, because he's a unicorn. Look at someone who's writing in that genre, who's maybe not a household name yet. Don't look to Brandon Sanderson. Because
Andrew
you're
Givler
not
would be a
gonna able
good
to
one
emulate
for
him.
that
But
similar
look at-
subgenre.
Yeah, so like if you're publishing indie, look at indie authors who are doing well in your genre, and try to reach them on similar platforms and kind of market your book in a way that will reflect readers who want to read your book as well.
Yes, that's such a good point, and something I did really early with mine. I'm actually writing. Well, I've finished one book. I'm writing 2 others right now. I'm on book 2 of my first one that's coming out in fall, and then I'm actually writing a lit RPG. And so I've reached out. So like on my dark fantasy, that's very Andy Peliquin's all over that book. Like he's helped me a lot with like action sequences, like emotional beats, that kind of stuff, because he writes stuff like that, and he makes a living off of it. I mean, now he works at Athon, but that's just because he wants to.
Yeah.
He can live off his books. He has for years. And then lit RPG, again, that's one of those things where you brought up Andrew Givler. I'm good friends with Andrew. You just find these people. And
First, is there anybody you don't know and aren't good friends with? It's starting to piss me off.
I live in Seattle, so everybody comes here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah,
a big
I-
writer hub there. As a Detroit-based author, I'm very jealous.
I live close
Right,
to Matt.
yeah.
I live close to Terry Brooks. I live close to Robin Hobb.
Terry Brooks,
It's
that's
all
Yeah,
here.
it's
So
like
I
a
see them all.
hub.
I see them all the time.
What I
This
hear
is
is
a
like
side
we're
point though of the good
Yeah.
things about being a creator in the book industry though
Yeah.
is like, yes,
Yeah.
you get the following, but I would argue a bigger boon from
Is
that is the connections that you get.
Yes.
Whether it's
100%.
leveraging those connections for blurbs
Yeah.
or like the kind of transactional icky feeling stuff, or whether it's literally just knowing people that you can ask for advice, or that you can see go through a journey, and then you are then able to follow in their footsteps a little more easily.
or getting to slide into MJ's DMs and be like, "Oh my God, I just sent a short story somewhere," or getting to have mead with Jeff
Yeah.
Brown in a bathtub in Seattle. I mean, the crazy things that happen. It's great.
It's a good thing, because you have to have some sort of audience or some sort of credibility to get in Robin's DMs.
Yeah.
Or to have conversations with Philip Quaintrell or Richard Swan. Like, you have to have that credibility first to be able to get that. Because I have friends who write indie books, who have published indie books, that are like, why doesn't this person get back to me? I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to ask them to. Like, figure it out. Unfortunately, that's just part of the deal. So I'd say more so than just having like an audience base, it's being able to go up to Matt Dinneman at his event, and he knows you because he's seen you on social media. And I know it sounds so stinking arrogant. I know it sucks that that's what it takes, but make friends with people.
That's what I was gonna say. It's not arrogant,
Yeah.
Noah, because what it is it's not just like, you're not saying like, I am like leveraging this thing so that I can use these people to
Yeah.
my devices. You're
Sure,
being
sure,
an
sure.
active and engaged member of a community. When it comes down to it, that's literally all it is. The community just happens to be this very niche creative community where it's such a small world. It's such a small world where you go 2
Yeah.
degrees of separation and you're at somebody that's making $500,000 on a book deal. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality of how small this community is. So no, be nice to you.
Yeah.
You're just an
Yeah,
active,
well,
engaged
it's just-
member.
And one thing I will say is, if you can't, let's say you're trying to get a hold of Philip Quaintrell because you're writing a book like his, right? A big 9-book epic. And you want to talk to him about it, pick his brain, get him to read something. Like, find someone who you see Philip interact with a lot on social media and be like, and talk to that person. That person may say yes, may say no, but at least you have the separation is less at that point.
Yep.
So that was one thing very early I did, was just get on these indie authors right away. Like, and from that, it just kind of grew from there. So, the audience is great, but having the connections to be able to talk with people who you've been reading since high school you can't put a price on that.
It's so, I don't think people realize that I guess it's not the ease, but especially with Book Talk, BookTube, especially the speculative fiction realm, to be able to join a community and relatively with good effort and having fun with it, being passionate enough, you can get those connections versus you can't start a film channel and talk to Leonardo DiCaprio.
Exactly.
That will never happen. But for some reason, it's just so much more accessible because it's a more niche community. But I also find, so sample size is going to be one thing, but maybe another part of that is people who are putting the effort to make all this content and talk stories like that for hours and hours on end. You're both gonna find like-minded people that also want to nerd out with you, but also people can tell you're genuinely here, not for that, like what MG's saying. It's not I can transactionally give you this if you give me that, because it's not the basis of it. Where certainly in an industry like Hollywood, it could seem like that because there's fame, prestige, all of this. When MJ's going, I sold 15,000 copies and I still need to work 80 hours a week, right? So it's not easy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's also,
good.
I was just going to say,
Herman.
it's not just about connecting with the, big name authors and picking their brains. You get to meet other authors, and I mean, I've made so many friends just because I started a podcast, which was the one benefit I never expected, right? It was, I started my podcast initially to, try to build my own audience selfishly. I went on hiatus. I actually don't even think when I introduced myself I said what my podcast was. I ran the greatest podcast in the multiverse for a year and a half. Decided it was way too much work, went on hiatus. But what I really missed was chatting with other authors. And so I decided to come back, rebrand, in order to chat with authors about what made them successful. So now it's under the Pint and Portal author podcast. The Pint and Portal being a pub in my books that's at the center of the multiverse. So I've had a lot of fun with that. I just restarted about a month ago, actually. So, but to my point, I missed the connection. I missed the community, the author community, and being able to chat with an author once a week and interact, in the comments and then all of a sudden, you get to a point where maybe those authors that you did want to reach out to do start to recognize who you are because of that 2 degree of separation thing. It really is a small community. It's incredible to me how quickly your sphere grows when you start talking to people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Just super briefly, though, I do find it interesting how it does feel like a very small community, and I feel like most of us are kind of in this same bubble. I sort of call it like the Spiffbo bubble, but like sometimes you do find like, oh shit, there's this whole other, like the romantasy bubble is kind of adjacent, but it's kind of a whole different thing, and there are some different areas. So like sometimes my mind is blown when I'm like, oh shit, I don't know everyone. Like as kind of ridiculous as that might sound, but it is, but it's very welcoming, and it's fun to be included. And I also love speaking with people from all over the world. I've talked to like a Portuguese author, a Greek author, an Egyptian author, and I'm like, a bunch of Australian authors who are close friends now that I would never have had a chance to talk to.
I love the Australian authors. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I like the Greek too, though. I like Gregory too, though. My Greek boy.
Greg!
Yep.
We've got me and Gregory have a giveaway running right now on my Instagram. If you want to win his book.
Nice. Michael, you were gonna say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that like the writing community and the book community in general recognizes the effort that you put in too.
Yes.
Like you get out of it as much as you put into it.
Right.
Like my gateway to it was honestly Adrian M. Gibson. He put a call out for ARC reads on Mushroom Blues, and I said, yeah. We started talking about his book after that, and now I'm here, and like the whole reason I have this like big book tour, and the big reason why I'm doing indie publishing in general is because Adrian convinced me to, and just following in the footsteps of everybody I've met from that initial touchstone in the community.
It is Mushroom Blues right there.
Yep. Adrian the man.
We're
That's
just
just
gonna point on the shelf where Mushroom Blues is. On
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say,
Shelf
mine's
right
over
behind
here.
us.
Well,
Shelves
I have
aren't
like
up yet.
7 copies of Mushroom Blues because
Yeah,
he
you-
lives in Ecuador, so he sent me all of his like test copies for print.
Nice.
You're like, oh yeah, this
Yeah.
one's good.
Yeah.
Adrian, yeah. Adrian's my interior designer and cover designer.
Austin's
As
like, you
of
fucking
today.
knows
I think he
Adrian
is
too?
for half
God
of
damn
us.
it, no.
Yeah, I
you
was
see it
gonna
on my
say,
face,
he's for me
Nicholas?
too.
Yeah.
I hired him today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Raise your hand if Adrian's doing your design.
Yeah, no, he did for
You
sure.
You got it, dude. He's
Yep. Yep.
he's so good.
He's
man.
really
so
good.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
He kills it.
Okay, let me step back a little bit. Something Herman said earlier. We kind of briefly touched on the AI conversation, and I want to put it to bed really quick. Is there anyone that disagrees with the idea that AI long term, like if AI might not kill your career immediately, but if you're using AI, you're definitely going to be killing your career like as soon as people kind of figure it out, you know? Agreed? Disagree?
I would just argue, why would you cheat on the only part of this entire fucking industry that's fun?
Yeah.
It is weird. It is weird.
Yeah.
Like,
There's no money to be made anyway. Why are you?
Yeah.
Like,
There are
I-
easier ways to make money with
Those are
AI.
like, I put up with publishing, so I get to write. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
I also will say too, like if you think that publishing a lot of books quickly is going to get you ahead, even if it gets you ahead for a moment, how long do you think it'll be before Amazon introduces a feature that you can hit a button and publish your own book? I mean, like you're fighting a losing game.
yeah,
Right.
it's the
Thinking
Barnum
you're
and
getting
Bailey
ahead
model
using AI,
again,
right?
right?
Yeah,
Where it's
exactly,
like,
exactly.
you know, okay, are you just gonna keep? I guess they could just keep churning out bullshit under different pen names. But here's
Right.
the thing, like
But you're gonna
whatever,
get lost,
like
right? You're
it's
gonna get
that's
lost
the
in
thing. Like
sloth.
to me, there's always been people in every industry that are just looking to leverage something to make a quick buck. You know what? Live your dreams, I guess. Whatever. That's not part of this community. Like, it's not.
Yeah. I think there's like a couple communities where like you can like it's common to get started with a AI cover, but even that I think is not a great plan, you know?
Do
like you
not.
can find relatively inexpensive cover artists. Use real
It's-
art. Don't also the AI audiobook crap, like nobody wants
Oh my
that,
God.
you know?
Dude, and I tell these people all the time. So I'm obviously a pretty decent sized indie reviewer. Like if people want their indie books read, they try to reach out to me, right? And so I tell them every single time, I'm like, listen, you want me or someone like me to read your book? I'm going to tell you right now, someone like me or me is not going to read your book if I see an AI cover. And we know that it is, because not only does it look like trash and everything else as well, but then I don't know what else you used AI for.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody can trust a freaking AI checker, so it's not like I can run it through and see, but like I don't know how far you took that at that point. If you're okay with it for your cover, what else are you okay with it for?
Right.
And
Well, and
that's
that's
just
the thing. Like anything, cover art is art. Narration is art. I think that if you are okay replacing a different type of artist's art with
Yeah.
soulless computer garbage,
Yeah.
I don't fuck with that.
like I tell
Yeah.
them, you know, and I'll be honest, like I'll say, like I have no issue with you with your Google search using AI to compile stuff. Like that's just part of life. I have no problem really with you if you have a bazillion notes, you're like, organize this for me. I have no problem with that. But when it comes to the part where you need a soul, and if AI is using that part, then that's where I draw the line on it. And that's just the big.
Would you be okay or against like AI replacing an editor, for example?
That's a tough one because I think as an indie author, like I wouldn't put someone down for using Grammarly. I would put someone down if they use Grammarly and then publish that book. I still want you to use a copy editor, right? I still want you to use a proofreader. There still needs to be something there. But your Grammarly is just a tool that you don't use to change sentence suggestion, right?
It's
like,
never correct.
It's just
use it at work.
It's such a slippery slope.
We have a whole Slack thread of go home Grammarly your trash. What are you telling us to
I need
do?
to make one of those at work.
What are you writing? It's funny, but like if you, I have no problem if you're a newer author, if you don't have the reach and you have like 2 people who can beta read for you and you run your draft through Grammarly just to update it so they can read it. I'm not going to hold that against you necessarily, but again, it's a slippery slope. It's like, well, we can do that. So why can't I update the dialogue here? You know? So it's
where do you draw the line?
Yeah, exactly. And my thing is like, it's when this, and again, a soul, that's a whole different issue. The metaphorical soul, whatever that is, you know, when there's just something about art that has to come from there. And I feel like when AI starts replacing that part, that's when it stops becoming art for me.
It's really not good enough to edit manuscript at all.
Yeah, no.
It's so bad. I mean, I do, you know, use AI a bit in my day job, which is coding, and even there, it's not supposed to be the thing it's supposed to be able to do, and it's right 20% of the time. It's just, it's like the tech bros have really somehow sold everyone on this idea that AI is coming to save us all, and it is just garbage. It's just not it's just not what they've sold it as being, right? Like,
what were you saying, Austin? Oh, I'm sorry, Nick. Nick, you can ask Austin what he was saying. I was.
I
We're all
was
in
just
host mode.
This is
I went into host mode.
Maybe I'm wrong about this. It's as AI develops, and we'll see what place it takes going forward. But the way I kind of think about it is, you know, when you're in school as a kid and doing your homework or doing essays, you would go to your parents for help, but not for them to write it for you. Is the kind of, I guess, the best case scenario. Like, imagine a kid doesn't have a parent, for example, in that case. Like, an AI would be a good teacher, I guess, of going, hey, don't write it for you, but possible.
Austin's like, listen, not all of us have Robin Hobb that we're seeing every week, right?
Thank you, Nicholas.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
To the rescue.
I get it. I don't either, Austin. You know, like,
I don't sit with Robin and like, hey, look, read the sentence for me.
Robin, come over here and tell them, but you don't talk to me every day.
She just comes into frame all of a sudden.
Now listen. Do I send her a picture of my kid?
swear.
Yes. Yeah. But no. Yeah, I get that, and that's why that's the thing about AI. Like people don't delineate between like generative and like your research based, like you're compiling AI, right? Like, you know, I'm old enough where we would use encyclopedias and then Encarta, right? And then that was kind of our, like, I would not be against my child typing into Google or even ChatGPT. What's the tiger population?
Yeah.
You know, like, that doesn't bug me. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with finding out what specific
same way, like Noah, for your manuscript, maybe like, hey, how many times do I begin a sentence with "and"?
Yeah.
And then it gives you, hey, you did it 85 times. And you're going through like, okay, I'm going to reduce that on my own. Be like, maybe I'll find a different word to go.
Yes. Yes. That would not bug me if someone told me they did that.
Gotcha.
I know some people would get on their high horse about that, but all that does is make us more efficient writers. And I think that's where AI is useful, when it can compile stuff for you, where it can tell you the percentage you started with he, right?
Sure,
now, if you type in there, go change the start of all my sentences to start with he, then we're getting somewhere else. Right? It's like, then what are we actually changing? Then we got the ship of Theseus with your manuscript. So yeah, it's an interesting thing.
I think where you're coming from, Austin, is like fundamentally it's a tool. Also, like any piece of tech, where it's at today is actually the worst state it's going to be. It's going to get better.
Yeah.
But it's such a pariah right now that like it is you can't do it. And because there are people that are going to write you off if you're saying I did even like what you're saying, they're going to be like, nope, you used ChatGPT, it's like how he just went ChatGPT and Voldemort, like you can't say the name. Exactly. That's the way it's seen in the industry right now, and I don't think that's going to change.
I haven't used AI yet is because it's taken me 5 years and I'm 40% done.
Yes,
that's the only proof I have so far.
Right.
That's why I have.
Well, that circles back to the platform and just getting to know the artist behind the art. Like that's part of what makes this so important as AI becomes more powerful and will, like you were saying, it will eventually be good enough to write books on its own without anybody's help. Because that's the progression of technology. It always tends to get better.
Right.
But getting to know the artist and having that platform where they can go like, you're a person, I've seen you on the internet, you have these likes and dislikes, and I resonate with that. It makes a huge difference.
Right.
Yeah, they can put a face to the words, right, to the page. They know who they're reading.
And writing being more subjective, like who's a better writer, the AI or this author, and if you compare them, you can always, there can be, maybe not knowing who the author is, you can make the argument, but at least something that's promising for me. I really love chess. Chess is one of my favorite board games. My dad taught me when I was 3. I love it. And
nerd.
Nerd. So Deep Blue was the first chess computer that beat Kasparov early on, and now any best computer can defeat Magnus Carlsen and the best chess players in the world, no question. It cannot be defeated, and also because there is a perfect game in chess, or at least a closer to perfect, where you know the correct move. Writing, it's different because what is the correct word, right? But at least with chess, AI, I guess the AI version or the computers have gotten better than humans, yet chess is more successful and popular than ever because I would rather watch Magnus Carlsen play the human play another human than Stockfish versus Alpha 0 or whatever. So even if the computers are better, what is that in writing? I think we're more pro-human than we think. We are.
Right.
This is art. This is more than just an industry and a machine. We are people.
If I could get flowery for a second here.
Yeah.
But my thing whenever I'm reading a book or when I think about people reading my book, the beautiful thing is that it's a frozen version of the author's psyche in time, communicating across time and space with the current psyche of the reader. Like, how crazy and cool is that? And that's why you can reread a book 10 years later and have a radically different experience. Because the book hasn't changed, but you have. Like, you are now having a different conversation with the author. That is not something that a computer can replicate, in my humble opinion. So... boom.
Yeah, and especially when you have a following, people like know your voice. I have. If you go on my Instagram, you can go read my first 2 chapters and chapter 10, and then people will message me and be like, "Oh, I can see you in this," and it's like, okay, perfect. Now you know that my soul's in there, and this is a part of me. This isn't. And I just don't know if AI is ever going to be able to do that. I mean, they might be able to fake it. But if you ask for that person who wrote it, if you ask for that person who wrote it or talk to that person who wrote it, you'd be like, wait, where is this person in this writing? This is just someone else's, self.
Well, and it can't think of anything new. That's the thing. All AI can do is regurgitate the collective mass of former human thought, which is, yes, honestly, a big part of what we do too. We are creating an amalgamation of all of what we have consumed in the past. But when I go, I do a lot of like speaking engagements at schools and stuff, just because I fucking love talking to children about writing. And they come up to me all the time.
Just like that too. You fucking kids.
I gotta steal it back. I'm talking to the grown-ups now, okay? But when I talk to the kids, every time the question that I get anytime I go to a school is, how do I write something that's like original and new, and like how do I think of the new idea? My answer is always a little after-school special, cheesy, but it's true. And it's like the thing that you're bringing that's new is you. That is what you are bringing. That is new. So, you're taking everything that you've read and experienced and you are bundling it up into a new story. the AI bots haven't experienced stuff, right? Like they have the entire whatever glut of the internet to pull from, but none of the like.
But they can never know what it's like to actually have your heart broken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're the packet of crystal light that goes in the water. You know, this is us.
Hey.
This is us.
That's it.
We're you know, we've got the collective works of everyone ever, and then you take yourself and you just give your own little.
You zhuzh it up a
plate.
little bit.
Yeah, I could sell that on TikTok Shop. I think Noah Light.
I'm the crystal light on a T-shirt, right? No.
Yeah, it's always a surprise flavor. You never know what one you're gonna get.
For the bevies.
For the bevies.
I love that though. That reminds me of Austin, when we were talking previously, and you were on the show, and you mentioned to ZB, like, could Infinite Monkeys write his book? And he was like, oh shit, I guess author intent matters. It's the same idea, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did. That was a fun conversation too, with talking about that. I mean, I didn't want to diverge people into the AI talk too much. Sorry if I took us off.
Oh my god, how
path
dare
there.
you?
But yeah,
That's good. This protects us all.
yes.
So
Right,
this is
right,
our.
right.
This is our. They're like, you wrote this with AI. I was like, no.
This is our
Put
public
it on
statement.
record.
Check my episode.
Got an AI alibi. Thank you very much. No. But to that point also that Herman was making and Michael was making, I do think one of the ways that, in addition to being human and authentic and talking about the things that AI can never experience, like heartbreak and betrayal or elation or an orgasm, whatever it may be, right? Noah's suddenly more interested in my book, I think. That's like, you see the look he made? He was like, oh, man.
Tell me more.
I was like, is my wife AI?
Oh.
Self burn.
Oh, boy. All right.
Clip it.
The confidence on this man.
that,
Honestly, I have more respect.
In addition to all that, one of the ways that we kind of counter the explosion of AI content that's already happening and is only going to get worse is to build the connection with the potential readers and let them know that we're real people. So I think some of that is required, like now and in the future, right? I think that it's been that way for a while. Like, people wanted to get Brandon Sanderson's secret projects because they knew and liked and trusted Brandon Sanderson and the books that they knew that he was going to deliver. I knew nothing when I started reading Project Hail Mary, but I knew it was an Andy Ware book, and I knew I was probably going to like it, But how far, and this is kind of for everyone, because even if you're not writing right now, I know that you guys you're observing the industry. You can have informed opinions on this. How far do you think is the right place to take the author brand and put that forward? Because I've seen some people try to be very behind the scenes and let the book be forward, and I've seen other people that, like, they are the brand, they are the thing that they are promoting on social media, and they're like, oh, by the way, I wrote this book. What do you think is the more effective approach? 'Cause I have opinions, but I want to know what you guys think.
Ooh. Here, I'll jump on this first. The noobest amongst us. I honestly think selling yourself as the brand is more powerful because it's that human connection versus the connection to the art is great. We've all talked about all over the internet how books and movies have destroyed us and made us feel all these wonderful and horrible things. But that isn't the same between product to product, book to book, movie to movie. If you can make that connection with the artist, the source of all that, that's going to be a longer lasting connection, in my opinion.
We were talking about who to mimic in the industry, and I think, you have your icons of your era, and I think Brandon Sanderson's a good person to imitate. I mean, he is not only the staple of our modern fantasy of, even if people don't like his books, which I happen to love his books, but even if people don't like his books, he's somebody who teaches writers who want to be in his spot, like what to do. Because he gives back to the community, he teaches, he has lectures, he promotes his stuff, he has a podcast, everything. He's in pretty much every avenue. And if you want to make a career as a writer too, with Dragonsteel, having these amazing conventions he does every year. Like, he just checks every single thing. And it was interesting, actually, with MJ, your guys' episode with SFF, with him and George and others. I think there was a question, something about the industry, and I remember George or Martin saying we're not on a first name basis like Noah is with him, but like somebody
He's the only one there I wasn't on first name
Gotcha.
basis.
But I think he said something. It could have been on a different episode too, but he was saying something along the lines of he's not a good person to ask how to break into the industry. He's not. Like, him being one of the most successful, most prolific names of all time is not somebody you should ask that question. I also think for, again, anybody listening or how to break in the industry, the best person to ask is the person 1 degree removed from you. That's the person that's going to have the most up-to-date, recent info that would be helpful. Even for someone like me, I think I'm declining in helpfulness for how to get a good podcast running, just because in 2022, I know shorts were like the way to go, and it was a great way to get people to watch your main stuff. And now shorts are still a good version, but I would maybe give different advice, or I wouldn't have up-to-date advice on how to get a good platform running with it being podcast only. And that's only 3 years removed. So imagine somebody that's been publishing since the 70s and 80s talking about that. So I guess that everybody here is probably a good rule of thumb for anybody watching of, hey, they're a degree or two removed of getting into the industry, ranging from Michael, who's just starting, to Noah and MJ and Herman, who have their different points in the industry. So that in general, a good rule of thumb is reach for the person that's right there. And then I know I mentioned Sanderson, but Sanderson being a modern voice for everybody, he is up to date. I think has a good pulse on what it takes to be successful. So.
Yeah, I think Sanderson in general is a great example because, yeah, he broke in years ago, but he hasn't just rested on his laurels at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has made every effort to stay very current on what is working, where the industry is at, where it's headed. So no, I completely agree. Great person to watch, but yeah. I like just look at the person like one rung on the ladder ahead of you. Mm-hmm. And then also, though, be prepared once you're up that rung, be prepared to reach back. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way that the industry, like, I love the writing community because when you're in the right circles of it, everybody knows this isn't a competition. We are all, like, readers read more than one book. Podcast listeners listen to more than one podcast, right? Like, I work in corporate America. Rising tide lifts all boats, for my corporate phrasing, right? But that's that's the thing. So, like, you look one rung up and look one rung back, right? Like, wherever you are.
Perfect.
I think that's just a good rule of thumb. Try to emulate one rung up, and then try to make sure that you're always reaching back to be like, let me help the guy on the rung behind me, so that we can all keep.
It's the ones two behind you want to stomp on.
That's
right?
the thing. Yeah.
You
When
gotta
you're
keep 'em
reaching
down.
back to, like, knock that guy back a bit, right? And then everyone behind you falls.
Yeah, once you're over 10,000 followers, I'll help you. But before that,
You gotta reach a minimum.
That's it. You gotta have rules.
That's fun.
Standards.
Nice.
that was a joke for people who don't know me.
Noah's like, oh God, am I gonna get in trouble?
Unlike the comment about his wife, which was facts. No.
Yeah, no clarification there.
No, that's not.
That still
a joke.
killed me. I was actually just gonna ask. So we're all at various stages of, like, trying to build an audience, and for a lot of people, they're still trying to do that or at the very beginning, no matter what stage they are in publishing. But what are some, like, I don't want to say low effort, but, like, really easy ways to get started for working up that audience? Like, what is step one that someone can do tomorrow?
Start an
Sit in front of the
Instagram account.
sit in front of the camera, dude.
Right.
Just
Yeah,
talk.
like just start. I mean, the step one is to start, right? I mean, open, like, reserve your name on Instagram if you can get it, or, you know, whatever that looks like. Pick a platform that you're comfortable with, and, you know, just start making content, whether that's about your book or about books you like. Because you got to start at zero, and everyone does, right? So.
Right.
Yeah, that's all.
If you guys were picking, if you had absolutely you were completely fresh into everything right now today, what platform would you pick?
Instagram.
See, it depends on
Instagram.
what genre I write, right?
Mm.
If
that's
I
a-
wrote romantasy, I would be on TikTok more so
Yeah.
than I am.
That's a good point.
Not that other things don't pop off on TikTok, they do, but book talk and spicy romantasy are peanut butter and jelly. But yeah, otherwise I agree. I'm mostly on Instagram these days because that's where I have my largest platform on TikTok. I've got like 40,000 followers on TikTok.
But you've got a bunch of angry video game nerds, apparently.
I have so many angry video game nerds. Not anymore, because I kind of stopped posting over there. But that's the thing, is it's like I kept trying to find my niche over there, and I found a following, but the following, it kind of goes back to that conversation of if Snooki writes hard sci-fi, right? Like I found a following that wasn't
The wrong following.
following me over to my books, right? So, which is fine, except, and if I had loved making TikToks, I think because that's my biggest, Michael, if I'm going to answer the question and like somebody is just getting started, find the platform or the avenue that doesn't feel like you want to gouge your eyeballs out with spoons to do it. Right? Because here's the thing. Most of us as writers, I'm aggressively introverted. I like to sit alone in my apartment with my cats most of the time. I don't like putting my face out there on the internet. I do it because I have to. So I pick the platforms that are the least painful, and when they're the least painful, those are the ones I'm gonna be the most consistent with. So for me right now, it's Instagram. If I had been able to stay consistent with TikTok, maybe it would have been TikTok, but I hated doing it, so I kind of stopped doing it. I really like podcasting. I like yapping with other authors, so that is another area that I have put my, whatever energies into. Podcasting, as all of you on this show know, is a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. If you don't like it, don't start a podcast. You're gonna hate it.
Right.
That's just my advice.
Yeah.
Is like there's so many different avenues. Or even like I love doing live events. I do, like I said, I talk at schools, but like I also I find like local events. I do like local book fairs. I get a table, which if you're at like, Dragonsteel or whatever, it's going to be a couple $100. But if I get a table at my local craft fair, it's like $20 for a table, and I can yap to my community. Am I reaching as many people as, the 500,000 people on Noah's Reels? No. But am I reaching some people, and am I enjoying myself? Yes. Right. So that's my advice, is like find the place that building a platform doesn't feel like torture, and then build it there.
You never have to archive your table because it got too big, right?
I mean, hey, if I get 500,000 people at one of my tables, the fire marshal will yell at me.
The local craft fair
Just everybody.
in the city of
At
Seattle.
the firehouse.
I would,
funny.
Nicholas, I would choose YouTube because the podcasts are long form, works with that. Spotify, Apple Pods, of course, but for shorter form, Instagram's obviously great. And to Michael, with the two things I would normally tell people of, even if you're already an author and then want to start social media, or if you're starting social media and then later going to become an author, either or, is one, could you do, I'm going to say this in podcast terms, just translate to Instagram terms, but could you do 100 different episodes you want to do? Like before starting the first episode, do you have 100 ideas that you want to already talk about? Whether it's a book review or a topic, and genuinely things that you it's not like I have to come up week to week and scrape by to think of a new thing, and oh God, are there 100 things that you'd want to do and get out there? And then secondly, if you had 0 viewers a year from now, if you're still nobody was watching, what are you getting out of it? Because assume you're not going to get anybody watching you. And so a good use case for Rich and I when we started Tutor Ramble was, even with especially the first 6 months, like who's watching us at all, the couple of things we were going through of, hey, we're hopefully getting better at speaking, enunciating our opinions. 2, after doing a full review or discussion on something, I get something out of it every time talking with Rich, and that's because it's the two of us. So whatever the topic is we want to explore, like every episode, there's a benefit regardless of the audience, which of course we're posting stuff because we want people to watch. That's of course. This is just more so the longevity thing to keep going. And like MJ was just saying, of you're going to gouge your eyes out if you're doing something that genuinely you don't want to do, right? So. This is coming from advice of someone who started in 2022, so take that with a grain of salt. I'm not brand new. It could be some advice could change, but that's what
might want to gouge your eyeballs out now.
You might want to. No, that's great.
I think that's timeless advice though. Like for both of those angles, do something that you enjoy, and do something that you're also going to get out of it, because there has to be a reason for you to keep showing up when nobody is watching. If you even if you post a TikTok and 10 people see it. Is that enough for you to continue to post on TikTok? Because consistency is going to be, in the end, what is why that media serves you, right? So, when I decided to reboot my podcast, knowing how much work a podcast was, I decided to take the angle of talking to authors who have made a successful career out of their writing, because I selfishly wanted to talk to those authors, and I decided that it would be great. Why don't I just hit record while I'm chatting with them? Because why not? And if I have 0 views at the end of the day, then I've had a great conversation about Facebook ads or community or whatever, right? So
100%.
I think that's still very valid advice, because at the end of the day, you're still getting something that is meaningful enough for you to keep showing up.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell viewers it's like all golden roses here too, because like I've had to do an episode with Nicholas, Jeff, and ZB. Twice. You think I wanted to do that? Absolutely not. But there's going to be those cases.
This is a favor.
This is the third conversation in like a couple months. I'm kind of up to here.
Yeah, what the hell? This is mine too. What is going on?
Right?
Nicholas, what have you been doing lately?
I saved you from ZB and Jeff this time, Austin.
Thank you.
Come on. You're welcome.
That's why I came. Honestly.
Yeah.
But
Listen, it's better than talking to Richard about fucking e-readers, right?
did you see how excited he was? Did you watch that?
He
oh my
was
goodness.
so happy. Oh my god.
I've never seen him happier. I felt like I felt such joy just off of his joy.
That was funny. All right, I got another question I think is interesting. And I kind of going back to the trad versus indie thing for just a second, but what's the biggest trad debut that you guys can think of in the last few years versus like indie debuts, because I feel like there's been like a couple indie debuts that have debut, right? There's been a couple indie debuts that have actually, but I can't think of a lot of trad debuts that have really blown up in the last like few years. But maybe I could very well be missing something, so tell me.
So I think I can pop in a little bit here. I'm not gonna so this falls into the category of like, if you ask me what my favorite song is and suddenly I'm like, what's music? I can't think of anything. But just as a general note, with the area of SFF in which most of us, those of us that I'm aware of the type of writing that we're doing, sit, I'm talking about Venn diagrams a lot on here. I'm not even a math person. But the Venn diagram of our audience and like the audience of what trad is giving the big 6 and 7 figure deals to, largely, not a lot of overlap.
Right.
Like the people that I know, and I do know some folks personally that have gotten high 6-figure deals for a debut. It's spicy, romantic-y, fae, romance, things like that. Because here's the thing, trad is, all of publishing is a business. Trad is definitely a business. It's a very risk-averse business. And it knows right now where the trend is, that is kind of, not necessarily a guaranteed hit, but, it's hedging its bets. So where it's putting the money and where it's putting its publicity dollars and where trad puts the publicity dollars is what makes the New York Times list. It's just how it works. People have to be aware of it, right, as we were talking about earlier.
Right.
So I think the reason why I might not be able to name something off the top of my head, and if you can't either, I'm sure that there are people who in the last 2 or 3 years got a mondo trad deal for a romantasy trilogy and are now a massive success. And like, I adore that for them, but we just might not like know those people.
Does Sinlin U count? Alchemized?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
because that
But
wasn't.
that one, that was originally published as a fanfic, and then he changed it.
It wasn't.
Right?
It wasn't pub. Well, yes, but it didn't. There was no money involved, right? So it wasn't like actually published. It was just on AO3.
Okay, right, but he had a ton of readers.
He.
She. Oh, sorry.
You have
They-
to bring your own audience.
they-
I think
okay.
that's the key, right? You
Yeah,
have to
that
bring
was
your
the
own
bringing the audience.
to-
Yeah. That
If
brought
you're
an
gonna
audience.
I think it
Right.
happens, and I can't think of any examples off the top of my head. I know I've talked to a couple that it has happened to, but they had an audience already. Like, you're not going to come out of nowhere, right? Like, but publishers are going to be willing to pay that if you're bringing an audience with you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
It's like the same reason why movies are all remakes and sequels now, because there's a baked-in audience. I mean, it's just a risk-averse piece of the industry. I'm not like ragging
Right.
on coming in
Right.
with an audience. You know what I mean? It's just like
No,
the
no.
industry is risk-averse, and
I just saw Scream 7 today. I didn't see 1 through 6. It's like, okay.
you're the outlier. You're coming in.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
You're reading Wind and Truth only.
Oh, guys, guys get to it.
Just right in the deep end.
All right.
Yeah. They must be onto something if they've gotten this far.
Right.
Like, there's 7 of them. That's reputable, right?
Oh man, I gotta check out Fast and Furious 13. You know, yeah. Yeah, no, I think like you're definitely right, MJ. That like the industry is chasing romantasy money right now, and romantasy's blown up. Like Fourth Wing was huge, of course. But I think that they're late to come to other trends like cozy fantasy. They're starting to sort of figure out that that's a thing. But Herman's been making money on it for a little while now. You know.
They just found out about lit RPG.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say too.
Just
Yeah.
found out.
Whereas, like, yeah, lit RPG,
In
like
15 years, my guys.
exactly. Like, yeah, finally with Dungeon Crawler Carl, they're like, oh wait, this is a thing that we can make money on, you know.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing like some agents being like, oh, I'm accepting lit RPGs because now they see the dollar bills, you know.
I bet you are.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
also, with cozy fantasy too. I mean, it wasn't a thing until Travis Baldree, and that started as indie, right? So
Exactly.
It's not
See,
like,
that's what I'm like. I think that if you are writing something like,
different.
well, okay, so because people always ask, like, do you write to trends? Should you write to trends? Whatever, which is, I guess, maybe an adjacent offshoot of this conversation. But no, don't write to trends because trends are going to change. But write what you want to write and then look at the market where you are when you're done writing it. Because if you happen to have written, you started writing your spicy romantasy book in 2021 and you just finished it and you're like, holy cow, look at this, I wrote Ice Planet Barbarians but put something different on it or whatever. Yes,
Go Ruby.
go
Yeah.
trad, try to go trad, like, right, like query, do the thing, try that route because it's hot right now. But
Yeah, yeah.
if you've written something and you're like, maybe you're early to a trend. Maybe you could start a trend. I mean, you could try to go trad. You never know. Sometimes
I'm
they
just
take a
saying,
risk.
read wish lists.
But well, yeah, that's fair too. Yeah, look at agent wish lists for queries.
Nobody
and
wants
stuff.
what I am writing.
But that's when you go indie and you can start the trend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
or there
Or
already
even, like,
is
I mean,
a
there
trend
are-
on indie, and there's gonna be baked
Yeah,
in
exactly.
audiences there because
Yep.
there's people that are reading stuff that's not just like on the bestseller table, the book talk sensation table at Barnes and Noble. You know what I mean? Like and
Yeah, yeah.
and you'll find your audience that way. But yeah.
I check that table once a week just to see what they got new for me on there. Always excited to check
Scooping
the
'em
book
up.
talk
If
table.
you don't fit on that table, it helps to have a signing table right in front of that table because everyone walks past you. That's what happened to me at Chapters, and it was great.
Oh my god, I love that. You're just like, oh hey, what about this?
Just in case.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit over here with the book talk.
Were you coming for this? Yeah,
Right?
that's funny.
What's the
Oh,
contemporary
you heard I was going to be
romance?
here. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I love that.
You like fantasy? Okay.
I have Givler's Ironbound. I'm reading it right now. I'm really enjoying
Boo.
it.
Boo.
It is really good.
And
Actually.
Oh, okay.
yeah, and speaking with him, we were like, what do you call it, Alpha Reader, whatever it was for his debut and his books early on, which was his deck collection series. It's an urban
Soul
fantasy.
Fraud.
Soul Fraud's the first book, yeah, and then he's coming out with the 5th this year, I believe. But he was even speaking about how this book right now, yeah, that's Soul Fraud there, and he was actually, I think, our first ever guest we had on To the Ramble way back when to interview an author. But for something like this, where it's so hot right now, it's not lit RPG, but it's progression fantasy, which the two are kind of married in a little bit. They're sister brother genres in a way, and it's a hot genre right now. And I believe it's Trad Pub. I actually don't know. Yeah, I think
it's Athon, so it's
like
not
small press.
exactly
Small
Trad.
press, yeah.
small press, right? But even when he was speaking about it, he says, hey, urban fantasy is not the thing. It's not huge. You have Dresden, but it's not just selling like that. But something like this, where it's progression fantasy, he both wanted to write it, did, and also it happens to be part of the trend right now, and it's just catapulting it even more. Also, being a good book helps, but the fact that he has several different series now, it's his second series, it also could help. Hey, if you're just keep writing more, obviously, and your books that maybe weren't hot 10 years ago, well, guess what? Urban fantasy, if it's in, he has 5 books now in urban fantasy as that trend starts to hit again. Because it's so hard to predict what's going to be the next thing. I don't know how to do that. Does anybody know? Anybody have guesses on what do you guys think is underrated right now that will be the next thing?
I'll tell you right now, epic fantasy's coming back.
I was going to say, if I can be biased, I'd like to say epic fantasy, but that's just because I
it's
have
coming.
a
That's not in?
Tolkien-inspired
I thought
thing.
that was in.
See, it is
Only
in
for
indie,
established.
But for established and in indie, but in
Okay.
trad, I have I probably shouldn't talk about this. Whatever. I break the rules. It's fine. I make my own rules. I have a Tolkien-inspired adventure fantasy that I have had on sub for 3 years.
Wow.
And the feedback we keep getting is this is too traditional sword and sorcery.
Oh.
And we
back.
keep getting that from publishers. But we're starting now to see some of them go, well, wait, we'd actually like to see that again. So, you know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, I'm thinking it might be coming back around. I hope it is. Because as a reader, I love it. And then, like, selfishly, like, I would love to get this out.
Sell that manuscript.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, Ryan Kyle's going to be huge for us epic fantasy and sword and sorcery writers.
Yeah.
Because that book, it's already New York Times. It's already bestseller. It's going to blow up, and Big Five are going to want it. And they're going to look at they're going to say, who the fuck is the Broken Binding?
Yeah.
That's exactly
See,
what's
this
going
is
to
why
happen.
I love the broken binding because, I mean, first of all, they're just lovely. But, like, I think they could be a really big disruptor in the trad space.
Oh, yeah. And they're going to, and that's the
we
plan.
need it. We need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then people like, and then I don't know. Well, whatever. I'm a rule breaker too. So Podium is looking to do a traditional author suite for fantasy stuff now. So I know some people at Podium, and their plan is they want to start doing kind of like what the Broken Binding is doing. They're seeing what Ryan did, and they're looking at a traditional author suite to be able to disrupt some of the bigger ones because they already have a big arm in with their audio, right? Like Podium's huge audio wise.
Yeah.
But they're like, we could get books on shelves like Broken Binding's doing. They have the capital to do it. So some of these smaller presses, and Athon's about to start doing the same thing, right? So it's all these like mid-tier companies that just a standard person won't know, but we know intimately.
Right.
You know, we know Athon, we know Podium.
And it's these companies that found these niches in kind of the indie space, and they're like making those money. Like, and Podium and Atheon are both like kind of in that lit RPG space pretty heavily, you know. And they're making bank there, and they're like, wait a minute, we can actually sell these on the shelves too. Like DCC gets paving the way a little bit for them, you know.
Yep. And I don't know if you know Hobson,
Heretical
Haylock
Fishing?
Jobson. Haylock Jobson,
Oh, yeah.
So Podium, he's like their first try at like doing that author suite thing. So with his, they're doing his print stuff now, you know. So
Nice.
they're doing his editing, his cover design. They're doing all that for him, and it's working.
Nice.
You know, you can go to my Barnes and Noble and see Heretical Fishing, which is insane.
Yeah, that's wild.
That it's just
That's
sitting.
Awesome.
Look, Heretical Fishing should not be on a Barnes and Noble shelf, but it is because Podium made it do that. It should. It definitely. I think it should, but it's just something you don't see.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that, though.
so,
I love the shake-up. Yeah.
And that's why I'm telling you guys, if you get an audio offer from one of these companies, take it, because you have a good chance to maybe go beyond that in those next books. So yeah, it's a good thing. Ryan Kyle's a very good thing for the industry, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a lovely human.
It goes
Yeah,
back
he
to what
likes
you were saying
return.
earlier, MJ. It's just like everyone else's success is your success in this.
Right.
Yeah.
We're all just
Yeah, it's good.
nerds that like writing cool shit. Like,
Yeah, let us get paid for it. That's all we want.
It's not so hard.
Let us quit at our jobs.
Right.
You want us to keep doing this? Give us money.
Check out the Nerdy Nebula podcast Patreon.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. How about you guys cool with one more question, you think?
Sure.
One more kind of
Yeah,
shot?
sure.
Unless anyone else has another question. I feel like you haven't had, like, you've had things to say, but maybe not a lot of questions for MJ or Herman.
Oh,
first.
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, he's got
Oh, that's Robin
on
figured
his
out.
He's got
speed
Robin
dial.
Hood.
Yeah, I know.
Robin.
He's gonna go next door right after this
Yeah.
and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey,
I'll
Knock on
text
the
Matt.
door.
I'll text Matt.
Yeah,
Call
yeah,
Robin.
yeah. One thing that I think that I disagree with some people that I respect a lot, with an opinion that, like, their debut book is so important, right? So I get the idea that you want to make a good first impression. Of course you want to make a good first impression. However, there are plenty of examples in the industry of people that take off and nobody gives a shit about their first book, you know? So,
Yeah.
and I feel like sometimes that desire to make a good first impression can actually, like, get in the way of progress, right? You can be so concerned with writing this excellent, like, unique book, right? That you spend so much time on it. You could have written 3 books, you know, not Noah because he's cranking them out, but of course, I mean, he's got Robin Hobb's help, so I mean, I guess that, you know, explains it. But
Robin's actually she's been writing most of it
she's
for
your
me,
ghostwriter.
So, yeah. She's writing under Noah Brisk now. She's-
No,
trying to
but
get away from that fame."
yeah.
she needs a break.
Yep. So be podcasting, but writing is Noah Brisk. It all makes sense.
You guys are just trading identities? Is this
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
So, but I'm interested in, like, what you guys think about that. If you agree, if you disagree. Yeah. Go. Anyone want to?
So my first few comeback episodes, at least 2, if not 3, people had written over 20 books
Wow.
before they had a book that hit, and
Oh,
now,
wow.
and then started making 6 figures a year. So
Austin's like, how many?
and you
Yeah,
know,
Austin needs
so
to
writing
get
it.
going,
I mean,
it sounds
obviously,
like.
I prefer not to write 20 books that don't sell at all.
Yeah, right.
So you want to like make that first book a good one and know, kind of where you're marketing and who you're writing it for. But I mean, if you've written a bunch of books and none of them have sold, that doesn't mean the game's over either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coming at it from the trad perspective, it's a little different, but it's not. It's different, but it's the same. Because, okay, so I always change my answer because, like, I wrote, like, a bunch of books and then I, like, mashed a bunch of them together and tried to make them into one book and then whatever. I wrote 5 or 6 books before I wrote Among Thieves. That none of them got published. If I had wanted to go indie out the gate, would I maybe have published that first one?
You'd have a huge catalog.
Here's the thing, though. I'm glad I did it because
Sure.
it wasn't good. The first one that I had, it was bad. The first several that I wrote were bad. And I ended up cannibalizing them for parts later to make something better later. So I do think that there is a case to be made for waiting. Not that, whatever. Your mileage may vary. Everybody can do their own thing. I will also say that the debut success does matter if you go trad.
It's fair.
I actually just recently, and again, I'm just like breaking all the rules. It's fine. I just recently got a rejection on one of my projects that's on sub from a publisher that said we don't take on non-debuts that sold fewer than 5,000 copies last year. So if you have a bad your track, if your track is not good and you're going the trad route, you can end up in a bad spot. I'm not going to name names and say what publisher that was. I was pissed.
Fuck them. Yeah.
Well, especially like I'm switching genres for this project too. Like it's not even like the audience isn't even going to be the. It
Sounds like Saga to me. Is what it sounds.
It was not. I will say it was not.
Sounds like Dog.
It was not my current publisher.
Just go through the list.
Parent.
Sounds like Penguin to me.
But you know what I mean. If you are going trad, your first book definitely matters. If you go indie, I do think that you have some more wiggle room because I don't know. Maybe it's not like someone's going to stop you from publishing another book. So that's something I can't necessarily speak on. But yeah.
Well, I'll also say as someone, so this was my debut book. That was YA dystopia. It's fine. If it would never have been picked up, do I regret hitting publish? It'll be unpublished and repackaged at some point. But it also let me realize that I could do it, right? I mean, it gave me the confidence to know that I could do it and to keep going. So there's something to be said, and I'll say the people that have picked up my cozy fantasy still don't know that it exists. Like, you don't start selling backlist books that people aren't interested in just because you publish something that people are interested in. So I do think you get a fresh start if you do a shift in genre, or if you don't shift in genres, people might start buying your backlist once they find the one book that for some reason hit. So.
Well, or to your point, I love this like uniquely indie possibility of being able to be like, oh, I pushed this out, and now it's been 5 years or however long. I've grown as a person and a writer, and I would like to re-release this now. Whether I'm changing the cover art or I'm changing the whatever, blah, 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 blah. Yep. And you have the power to do that. I have a personal rule. I will never in my life reread this book, ever. Because I cannot change it. And I first wrote this book in 2016. Like, I am not the same person I was when I wrote this book. I still believe in it. I remember it fondly. I fear that if I were to read this now, I might not like it. And I am powerless to change it. That's scary.
It's a capsule of time. That was you for who you were then.
That's true. This was me in 2016.
Yes.
Enjoy,
like
fresh face.
It's like my favorite year.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, this was me before everything went to shit.
That's when the Cubs won the World Series. Cubs won the World Series in 2016. I just want to point out that was the last time the world was
on
right.
The bad timeline, Noah.
No, that's the end of the good timeline. That's the end of the good timeline.
Oh, that's something with Sanderson. Wrote 13 books before he got published. Pierce Brown 6, but then you have the cases where Harper Lee wrote 1, and her debut was To Kill a Mockingbird. Wow. And then you have Patrick Rothfuss, his first. Well, I mean, I'm not comparing him to Harper Lee because he's much worse, significantly. I mean, we've had that conversation, Nicholas, on my disdain toward Name of the Wind, but still, obviously, massively successful love book. Yeah. But then, hey, the one argument Sanderson would make is you might not have the good habits to finish more books if you're waiting and not having a good process to actually complete your books. So then if your debut is successful, then you're writing a series, then you get locked into that space of, ooh, now there's obligations or potential obligations to complete the series, and you might not have built the correct author habits in order to finish those type of books. So I totally get that perspective of things. And then on the other hand, you have the ones who are grinding out their debut book, put all their heart and soul into it. You end up like Harper Lee, or there's plenty of cases too where their first books just were successful and they were like meaningful thematic things that meant something to the author that they were expressing to the world. And that happens too. It's kind of take your pick, but if you're looking at you love to write, you want to be an author, certainly the right course is, hey, if you love to write and you want that to be a full-time thing, Sanderson Camp's going to be there for you. But then if you're looking for I'm not sure what Harper Lee's motivations were, but clearly massively successful in her own right. So, but again, kind of trend toward modern writing. What should you do? Sanderson's a good track to follow in general.
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah, you learn so much simply by finishing a book too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
What a perfect segue, Mr. Vadney. Like, you just finished a book. You should pitch it for us, please.
Yes. Oh my God. Hello. I wish I had a copy to hold for you here when this episode comes out. I probably will, but I don't right now. But sure. The shortest pitch I've ever thought of so far is that Crownfall is about a lady, a magic engineer, and a thief as they are pulled into a rebellion against a tyrannical ruler, which is backed by a foreign empire.
And it's really good, and you guys should read it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Sounds fun.
I'm cool, and I got to read it first.
You're on the cover, so I appreciate that.
Wait, what? MJ's on the cover. Did MJ
Yeah,
inspire a
MJ's
character?
on
The
the
front
cover.
cover.
Oh, your
Yes.
blurb. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's just
Okay.
my headshot.
My cover is amazing.
Cover.
It's just a picture of MJ.
Nice. Thank you all for joining. Maybe we should go around and let people know where they can find and follow you. Let's start with Noah.
I'm Noah Brisk. You can find me about 40 minutes south of Seattle. I travel for work, and you can catch my rides on Instagram. That's my name's Noah's Brisk Reviews everywhere, so it's Noah's Brisk Reviews. That's Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. But you don't need to go to TikTok. I don't think I've ever responded to a comment there. So go ahead, boys and lady.
All right. That was something.
You want me to keep going? I can do it.
Nope. Let's do Michael, Herman, Austin, MJ.
All right. Michael Vadney. I'm Michael_Vadney pretty much everywhere, and you can find the Author Adjacent podcast on YouTube and Spotify. Though I'm a little behind on Spotify. I'll catch it up soon, I swear. Yeah, that's me. And Crownfall. Yeah, that. It comes out
Yeah, the
April
book.
28th. I should talk
April-
about that.
oh,
That's
that's
why I'm
soon.
here, I guess.
But soon.
And you could find Austin, Rich is my other half, for Tutor Ramble on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Instagram, all that. And if anybody's a writer out there, please DM if you want to chat about writing anytime on Instagram, or email us tutorramble@gmail.com.
Yes, and I'm Herman Stewernagel. You can follow me on Instagram at Herman Stewernagel, or at my website, hermanstewernagel.com. I know that's impossible to spell, so head to pintandportal.com, and it'll link you to my podcast, the Pint and Portal Author Podcast, as well as to my writer website.
And you can find me across all the main socials, but mostly on Instagram at mjkoonbooks, all one word, or just mjkoon.com. You can keep up with me and all my stuff. And yeah, you can follow me along with my cyberpunk adventure that's coming out this year. So, baby's first sci-fi. Let's go. Oh,
Awesome.
and I'll just follow SFF Addicts at SFF Addicts Pod. Sorry, Adrian, I always forget to plug that.
Come on.
No, you should follow all of these fine folks. All of their shows are great. All of their Instagram accounts are nice. SFF Addicts, I think, is like the gold star of interview shows. Austin's kind of funny. Noah's got great opinions. Michael's a great time to listen to. Herman brings more and more people that actually learn stuff, as opposed to my show where we just make fun of Noah and his wife, I guess. But, you know, it's
Don't
a
you
good
dare
time.
talk about my wife. My AI wife.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, viewers. I appreciate it. And keep reading and nerd out.